In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and merciful. The title of the chapter is The Nature of Strategic Management. First of all, let us discuss chapter objectives. The first objective, as the book is defining, describe the strategic management process. The second would be explain the need for integrating analysis and intuition in strategic management. Number 3 is define and give examples of key terms in strategic management. The fourth objective we have is discuss the nature of strategy formulation, implementation, and evaluation activities. These are the stages of strategic management actually. The fifth objective is describe the benefits of good strategic management. The sixth would be discuss the relevance of Sun Tzu's The Art of War to strategic management. And the seventh chapter objective would be discuss how a firm may achieve sustained competitive advantage. So these are the topics we need to talk about in our today's session. First of all, the definition of strategic management. The strategic management is considered as the art and science of formulating, implementing, and evaluating cross-functional decisions that enable an organization to achieve its objectives. Now, in this particular definition, there are a few terms I need to explain. First of all, the strategic management is taken up as the art. The art would mean that with the passage of time, you would learn it. With the passage of time, your intuition about it would develop. With the passage of time, with your experience and exposure, you'll be able to craft, formulate strategies. And with the passage of time, the art which you are going to learn about strategic management, that art might not have some logical explanations. For example, I have just said that your intuition would also develop with passage of time to formulate strategy. Now that intuition, the sixth sense, is not having any logical explanation. They are your gut feelings, they are your inner feelings, and that's how you make a strategy. Whereas when we talk about strategic management as science, it means that we also need to follow at certain instances scientific methodology of making strategy. In that particular scientific methodology, we are going to have certain steps to follow, certain parameters to be considered, and you're going to make systematic analysis of the things. Those systematic analysis would not be just your intuitional factors. Okay, we'll be having certain numbers with us, we'll be having certain matrices with us, we'll be having formulas, we'll be having different frameworks to design a strategy. So when we involve formulas, matrices, analysis, frameworks, so that makes it a science. So these two things, the art and the science, would go side by side, right? So all the authors of strategic management books, they agree on one point, that 100% it is not just the science, not just the formula, and 100% it is not just the intuition which can lead you towards long-term success and above average return. So you need to have both, right? So the strategic management is taken up as the art and science. Now, where do we involve these two things, the art and science? We involve these two things in, first of all, formulating the strategy. Once the strategy is formulated, then these two things are required for implementing, that you practically manifest what you have designed. You practically see physically, tangibly, that what strategy is going to give you in its performance terms. And once the strategy is implemented, then you go through the stage of evaluating. By the term evaluating, we are using the expression of controlling, which means comparing actual with the standard. So in evaluating stage, you will see that what are the objectives, what are the performance results, and how much is the variance from the performance and the objectives. The next expression is cross-functional decisions. By this word, cross-functional decision, it means to say that strategy is not just the liability of finance department or marketing department. The strategy would be implemented all around the organization, all the functional areas, all the SBUs, strategic business units. They are all responsible to implement, formulate, evaluate the strategies. Okay, so marketing people would have their marketing strategies, finance people would have their financial strategies, HR people would have their HR strategies, likewise the production, operation, MIS, all the departments, they would have their own strategies. And obviously those strategies are always crafted to meet the objectives. So that means that every cross-functional area would have their own objectives. Okay, now this all would enable an organization overall to achieve its objectives. And I told you earlier that whenever we talk about objectives, there are three types of objectives we are always concerned with: financial objectives, operational objectives, and strategic objectives. Okay, so the strategic management is basically the science and art of achieving your objectives. Now, strategic management is used synonymously with the term strategic planning. Okay, so a couple of times these two terms would be used interchangeably, but at the same time, there is a slight difference between strategic management and strategic planning. As it is written on the slide, that sometimes the term strategic management is used to refer to strategy formulation, implementation, and evaluation. Okay. Whereas when we talk about strategic planning, the strategic planning part is majorly referring to only to the strategy formulation aspect, that you are making a plan, okay, that how you're going to achieve your objectives. But the formulation or the planning part of the story would not be having the implementation and the evaluation stages. Okay, so we can use them interchangeably, but at the same time, we should be very clear when we purely talk about strategic planning, it means formulation. And when we talk about strategic management, so it would also have the aspects of implementation as well as evaluation. Now, a strategic plan is basically a company's game plan. A strategic plan results from tough managerial choices. Right, couple of times managers, they have to take certain actions which may call for certain compromises, certain trade-offs. So the strategic plan results from tough managerial choices. You have to set the priority. You have to compromise on certain things to get something. You may have to lose something. So a strategic plan results from tough managerial choices among numerous good alternatives. Now that is a very interesting aspect, that you can have the same result with different alternatives. All the alternatives are applicable. All the alternatives can generate results for you. But what or which particular alternative out of all those good alternatives you have to pick, so that make the things tough. Okay, so what we have to do, that we have to set again the priority in between those alternatives. Okay, it is just like the decision-making process. Like you have a problem and to eliminate that problem, you set decision criteria. Once the decision criteria is set, then you go for collection of alternatives. Once the alternatives are with you, so you choose among those alternatives which one is the best. And once the best alternative is chosen, so then you implement, and then you get the results. So just like that in strategy, we have certain alternatives, and out of those numerous good alternatives, we have to choose the best. And it signals commitment to specific markets, policies, procedures, and operations. Okay, so that best alternative is basically the one which is in response to the market situation. Okay, so what are the market dynamics? How the markets are segmented, What are the markets demand? What are the markets pattern of working? Okay, so you have to see how the markets are operating and which strategy suits the best according to the market situation and condition. Then you have to make the choice based upon your policies. And remember, in strategic management, when we use the word policies, it means general guideline for making decisions. So what are your policies? What are your quality policies? What are your operational policies? What are your discipline policies? So all the policies which an organization would have as set of guidelines, and the procedures and operations, right? So we have to focus upon what are the procedures and operations. So the difference between these two words, again, operations and procedures, they can be used interchangeably. They are synonyms to one another. But when we say the word procedure, it means methods. And when we say the word operations, so it means execution. Okay. So these are the things which would be counted as major contributors in our selection of best alternative among all the available good alternatives. There are certain stages of strategic management. According to your book written by Freda David, he has suggested that there are 3 stages of strategy formulation. The first one is stages of strategic management. The first stage is strategy formulation. Once the strategy is formulated, then you implement it. So it would be known as strategy implementation. And once the strategy is implemented, you get the performance in terms of productivity, profitability, and satisfaction. So once the performance in terms of productivity, profitability, and satisfaction is there, then you evaluate that strategy, that either your results are being achieved or not. If the desired results are achieved, you are going to re-energize the system. I repeat again, if the desired results are achieved, you are going to re-energize the system. Re-energize would mean that you are going to implement the same strategy for the next year. You're going to have the same strategy for the next year. You'll be following the same processes. You'll be following the same procedures. You'll be following the same operations because the system has generated good results, and you're going to re-energize the system. Okay. But supposedly, if the strategy evaluation stage tells us that the results are not acceptable, the results are not desirable, the performance is low than expected, okay? So then we use the word re-engineering. First we said re-energizing. Now I'm using the word re-engineering. Re-engineering would mean that you are going to bring about some change. Perhaps you're going to change the strategy. Perhaps you're going to change the methodology of implementation. Perhaps you're going to even change the objectives. Perhaps your objectives were not accurately set. So you have to change something. The change would bring in the desired results. So that term is known as re-engineering. And again, another expression we can have in the field of strategic management related to re-engineering is BPR. BPR stands for Business Performance Re-engineering. In business performance re-engineering, we actually focus on the areas which are causing us trouble, and we eliminate those troubles at the very initial stages wherever they are occurring. And out of that change, we actually get the desired results. Okay. So the business process re-engineering is the way through which you can bring about a change in the organization to achieve, above average return and long-term survival. So both combined as your sustainability, that you're going to sustain an organization in a profitable way with the satisfaction of the stakeholders. All right. So these are the 3 stages as quoted by Freda David. There are other authors of strategic management books, and they have advised another stage before the strategy formulation, and that stage would be known as environment scanning. Okay. Now, Whelan and Hunger is the author of the book Business Policy and Strategy, and he has said that there is a stage before the strategy formulation stage, and that stage is known as environment scanning. According to Whelan and Hunger, first of all, we have to conduct an audit of the environment, internal environment and external environment of the organization. And out of that audit, we would be having the list of opportunities, threats, strengths, and weaknesses. And once we have the list of opportunities, threats, strengths, and weaknesses, so then we'll be able to formulate a strategy. Okay, so that is the term used by Whelan and Hunger. But in the context of Freda David, he basically takes this steps of environment scanning a part of strategy formulation. He's not taking it up as a separate stage. He takes that as a part of strategy formulation. So whatever the case may be, you take it as a part of strategy formulation or you take it separately, we have to follow the sequence that first of all, we need to have our SWOT ready. And once our SWOT analysis is done, then we come up with the parameters and the frameworks and the matrices and the formulas of strategy formulation. If there is any question you can always ask in the Google group chat room. Now let's move to a little detail of what strategy formulation is all about. Strategy formulation includes developing a vision and mission, right? As I told you earlier, that strategy begins with the direction setting. So you have to have the vision and mission. Yes, the question being asked to me is that SWOT analysis will be step before formulation. Basically, yes. SWOT is before formulation. According to Whelan and Hunger, you do a stage known as environment scanning. Okay, but according to Freda David, he has placed environment scanning part a part of strategy formulation. And in strategy formulation, you start with, according to Freda David, I'm saying, in strategy formulation, you would start with environment scanning. Okay, you'll do the SWOT analysis. You'll collect the opportunity threats from the external environment, and you'll collect the strengths and weaknesses from internal environment. So that is the same thing which we are going to read in this particular slide just in front of us. It says that strategy formulation includes developing a vision and mission. That first of all, you need to set the direction for the firm. Remember that vision and mission sets the direction for the firm, and they are mostly qualitative in nature. Okay, vision would talk about future and the mission would talk about present. Vision would tell us that what you would like to become in the future, and the mission is your reason for existence or purpose of being. And as I told you earlier, that mission would always answer 3 questions. And those 3 questions are who we are, what we do, whom we serve. Who we are, by this expression, we mean to say our business definition. What we do, it means products and services. And to whom we serve, it means our target market. So mission basically talks about these 3 things, which makes up the reason for existence, our purpose of being. Okay. So according to formulation step, it includes vision and mission, and then identifying an organization's external opportunities and threats. You know, I told you earlier, Freda David has included the environment scanning part in strategy formulation. Whereas if you read the book of Whelan and Hunger, Business Policy and Strategy, he takes it as a separate stage. Okay, so that would not make much difference. The context of the discussion should be clear to you. Adding one stage or removing one stage would not make much difference. So mission, vision, after the definition of these 2 things, external opportunities and threats are sorted out. Determining internal strengths and weaknesses, as I told you, SWOT analysis, establishing long-term objectives, okay, and generating alternative strategies and choosing particular strategies to pursue. Okay, so these are the main aspects of strategy formulation. I repeat again, you develop mission vision, you talk about external opportunities and threats, internal strengths and weaknesses, you set objectives, you generate alternatives, and you choose particular strategies to pursue. And these stages, these elements of strategy formulation would be covered in first 6 chapters of your book. Okay, so the first 6 chapters of your book are basically talking about these elements. In one chapter, we'll be talking about vision and mission. In one chapter, we'll be talking about external opportunities and threats. In the next chapter, we'll be talking about strengths and weaknesses. Then we'll be talking about strategies, types of strategies and the ways to generate alternatives and how to choose a particular strategy. So your first 6 chapters are basically related to strategy formulation. In strategy formulation, the major things you need to know, keep in your mind, are number 1, deciding what new businesses to enter, that either you want to integrate your business or you want to go for diversification. When I use the word integration, it means that you need to go for either backward integration, backward vertical integration, or you need to go for either forward vertical integration. Now, backward vertical integration would mean that you want to become your own supplier. Okay, I repeat, backward vertical integration would mean that you want to become your own supplier. Okay, by the term own supplier, I mean to say that rather than buying the supplies from the supplier, you buy the supplier. Okay. Another thing can be that rather than buying the supplies from the supplier, you have arranged your own supplies. Okay, so that is what you call backward vertical integration. And the forward vertical integration would mean that rather than having the products given to distributor, you have your own distribution networks. Rather than placing your products in retail markets, you have your own retail outlets. So that is vertical integration. Okay, so it can also be that you need to go for diversification. That first of all, you are making products related to, say, plastic furniture, and then you plan to go for home appliances. So plastic furniture and home appliances are diversified businesses. Okay, so that's how strategy formulation stage would be telling us that what new businesses to enter. There is a question asked to me in the chat room that can we say that strategy and long-term objectives of the firm or of an organization are related terms? Well, they are obviously related, but long-term objective would mean what we have to achieve. And when we use the word strategy, it means how we are going to achieve it. Okay? So I told you earlier that what is objectives and how is strategy. So that's how these two are interrelated. Boss, yes, boss in the local context is an example of diversification. And when there are home appliances and plastic business, so these are not much related to one another. So we can call it unrelated diversification. Okay. So you are absolutely right. That is known as unrelated diversification, and unrelated diversification would also be termed as conglomerate. Okay, the exact term we use for unrelated diversification is conglomerate. But if there is related diversification, we use the word concentric. Okay, so these are the two words. They will be definitely coming in our next chapters. But right now, I'm just giving you a hint. Conglomerate would mean unrelated diversification, and concentric would mean related diversification. So in strategy formulation, as the first point is in front of us, that deciding what new businesses to enter. Okay, so obviously that is a part of strategy formulation that we have to decide, we have to plan. Second, what businesses to abandon. Supposedly, if some business is not any more profitable for us, if we want to, just wind up that business, so we have to make that decision in the stage of strategy formulation. So what businesses to abandon, that is another thing we have to formulate. How to allocate resources, that is a very important factor in strategy formulation, that how our different types of resources, material resources, our technology resources, our information resources, our human resources, to how to allocate different resources to different SBUs and functional areas. So that is again a part of strategy formulation. Okay, so whether to expand operations or diversify. Again, we want to suppose expand our operation, expand our business from local to global. So there are certain stages we have to follow. For example, if you have just started your business in Gujranwala, so that would be your local operation. And then from local, when you have spread your business to like the province level, so that would be regional. Okay, so once the regional market is captured and now you plan to go for the whole national market, so that stage would be known as a national market. And once the national market is supposedly satisfied, now you want to go for international. And once the international businesses are being established and you go for further country establishments, so that would be multinational. And obviously, when you're operating in major parts of the world, so that would be known as global. Technically speaking, when we use the word global, it means that you're operating in more than 50 countries. Okay, so the sequence of our geographic expansion would be that you start as local, then you develop to regional, then you develop to national, then you develop to international, and then you develop to multinational and global. Okay, so that's how your geographic expansion generally takes place. But these days, you know, in the cyber physical systems, in the internet world, we are having the organizations which are known as born globals, right? Born globals. So born globals would mean that you start your business today, and rather than moving from local to regional to national to international to multinational to global, you start your business today and you are global. On the very first day of your launch, you are global. And how is it possible? It is just possible because of the internet. Okay, you have developed your website and you offer your services right away to the whole world. So that is what you call global. Okay, so these are the things which we have to decide in strategy formulation, that whether to enter international markets or not, whether to go for our business expansion or not, whether to merge or form a joint venture or not, right? So these are the things, these are the elements of strategy formulation. Now, these two words, merger and joint venture, they need a little clarification. In case of merger, two organizations which are going to merge with one another, they are going to basically lose their identity and they would make a new firm. Okay, so that is what you call merger. Okay, but when you use the word joint venture, in the joint venture situation, the both organizations retain their identity, but just for the launch of a product or for a particular service, they join hands. Okay, so that is what you call joint venture. Historically speaking, one of the joint ventures we had was Sony Ericsson, suppose. So Sony remained Sony, Ericsson remained Ericsson, and that makes the joint venture. And no doubt, Toyota and Daihatsu for the launch of the Kore. So that is a joint venture. So there can be 1 million examples of the joint ventures where firms joined hands together to launch a particular product. Okay. Another term related to joint venture is strategic alliance. Okay. In case of strategic alliance, we say that joint venture is a type of strategic alliance. Right? But in strategic alliance, we can go for launch of certain projects, and strategic alliance can only be dealt with consultations as well, that the two firms are only having consultation with one another. So again, that can be termed as strategic alliance. Okay, but some authors, they also argue that joint venture and strategic alliances are again synonyms to one another. But merger is a different thing. Okay. So I don't have any particular example about Hyperstar, Abdullah, so I can't comment on it. How to avoid a hostile takeover? So that is another part of strategic management. So how to avoid a hostile takeover? Like, you know, there can be two types of takeovers. It can be either hostile or non-hostile. In the case of hostile takeover, we mean to say that the involvement of or the willingness of shareholders is not there. Okay, that is hostile takeover. And in its other side would be the non-hostile takeover. So Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan and all around the world, we have a law known as corporate governance. And under the sections of corporate governance, we make sure that the hostile takeover of the corporations should not be taking place because it greatly hurts the rights of the shareholders. Okay. So how to avoid a hostile takeover? So again, that is a part of strategy formulation. Okay. Takeover and acquisition. These are again two terms which can be used as synonyms to one another. Okay, and another expression in strategy for takeovers and acquisitions, it can be horizontal integration. Okay, so we have just discussed different strategies like the mergers, like acquisitions, takeovers, joint ventures, strategic alliances. So you should be very much clear that what are the differences between these terms. Now, once the strategy is formulated, as you know, we are in the introductory chapter. So we are just covering the introduction of different aspects. Obviously, in the next coming chapters, we'll be discussing all these things in much greater detail. So when you talk about strategy implementation requires a firm to establish annual objectives. Okay, so technically speaking, you make annual objectives as you always go for, you know, making your annual statements of finances. Okay, balance sheet, income statement, it is usually you know, having the time horizon of 1 year. So for every financial year, you have certain objectives in the coming future. So strategy implementation requires a firm to establish annual objectives, devise policies, motivate employees, and allocate resources so that formulated strategies can be executed. There is no doubt that all of these things would also be addressed in strategy formulation as well, right? But implementation would be showing us its physical, practical, tangible demonstration. That is the major difference. In formulation, we just plan about these things, and implementation, we actually get the physical orientation of these things. Okay, and this is also known as action stage, you know, where execution is being done. So that is your action stage. Whelan and Hunger, in his book, you know, of business policy and strategy, he involves 3 stages in implementation, and those 3 stages are programs, budgets, and procedures. Right? According to Whelan and Hunger, you develop programs, you establish budgets, and you develop procedures to implement the particular strategy. Right? So once the programs, budgets, and procedures are done, once the strategy is implemented, once the performance is coming in, so now we move towards strategy evaluation stage. And the strategy evaluation would be talking about reviewing external and internal factors that are the basis for current strategies. We'll be going for measuring performance, and we'll be taking corrective actions. And those corrective actions, in the context of corrective actions, I used 2 terms, re-energizing and re-engineering. Okay, so we'll be having certain corrective actions, because strategy formulation is basically your controlling aspect. You know, as we talk about management functions, planning, organizing, staffing, leading, controlling. So in controlling, what you do, you compare actual with the standard. The same is the case. Evaluation is your controlling perspective, which means that you take corrective actions if the performance is not according to the desired results. Okay. And particularly when I use the word controlling in evaluation, you should also remember that there are 3 types of controls we have. We have feedback controls, we have feed forward controls, and we have concurrent controls. Feedback controls would mean once the procedure or process is done, you provide the feedback that how it was. Feed forward control would mean that you take precautionary measures. And concurrent control would mean that during the process, you take corrective actions. Okay, so you should be also remembering that how do you control the systems. So you need to come up with feedbacks, you need to come up with feed forwards, you need to come up with concurrent controls. Okay, so we also discussed 2 more terms related to this evaluation stage. I repeat again, they were re-energizing and re-engineering. Our Zoom meeting time is over. The first Zoom meeting time is over now. We'll be joining each other, inshallah, second Zoom meeting. The link to that second Zoom meeting would be posted in your email addresses. Jazakallah for this meeting. Thank you.